Welcome and good morning. I'm Josh Coyote, today's worship associate. Today is our November 26, 2023, in-person and online service. So welcome to this morning, this day, and this opportunity to be together in community. I have a few announcements. We'll be having sorrows, concerns, and joys after time for all ages. At that time, we'll read those that came in earlier by email, actually none of them that week, and we will also read any that are in the basket over there or are posted in our chat box. If you post them in the chat box online, make sure you indicate as a sorrow, concern, or joy so we notice them. And this needs to be done ahead of time. We have, there's a book group in the UU Church on December 6th starting at 7 p.m. in the Snake River Room. All are welcome. Reverend Kevin has more information about that if you're interested, including the book to read. Philosophy Club will be Tuesday, November 28th, 7 p.m., and we're talking about John Rawls' theory of justice. And are there any other announcements? Victoria.
We need people to sign up for our greeter. We have 2 people signed up for next month, and I'm not sure the coffee sign up is downstairs. So if you want to have hot coffee and a little snackaroo, then just sign up and I can show you what to do, or somebody else can show you what to do.
Yeah, I have a message from Molly Brinkerhoff that says the women's group will meet on Friday at 5:30 at Cindy Logan's, and please bring a dish to share.
Okay, women's group this Friday. Anything else? Okay. As I ring the peace bowl 3 times, take deep breaths and relax so we can move into worship. For this moment in time, let go of your anxieties, fears, and worries. Be in this moment. We will now read our church covenant. It is printed in the order of service, so if you like to, feel free to read it along with us. Love is the spirit of this community, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We will now be lighting our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift.
Good morning. Our call to worship this morning is the poem Gratitude by Gary Snyder, and it's modeled after a Mohawk prayer. Gratitude to Mother Earth, sailing through night and day, and to her soil, rich, rare, and sweet in our minds, so be it. Gratitude to plants, the sun-facing, light-changing leaf, and fine root hairs, standing still through wind and rain. Their dance is in the flowing spiral grain in our minds, so be it. Gratitude to air, breathing, bearing the soaring swift and the silent owl at dawn, breath of our song, clear spirit breeze in our minds, so be it. Gratitude to wild beings, our brothers, teaching secrets, freedoms, and ways, who share with us their milk, self-complete, brave, and aware, in our minds, so be it. Gratitude to water, clouds, lakes, rivers, glaciers, holding or releasing, streaming through all, our bodies, salty seas, in our minds, so be it. Gratitude to the sun, blinding, pulsing light through trunks of trees, through mists, warming caves where bears and snakes sleep, he who wakes us in our minds, so be it. Gratitude to the sky, who holds billions of stars and goes yet beyond that, beyond all powers and thoughts, and yet is within us, grandfather space. The mind is his wife, so be it. I invite you now to join in our opening hymn, number 67, We Sing Now Together.
There we go.
Please rise and bow your spirit.
We sing now together our songs of thanksgiving, rejoicing in goods which the ages have wrought, for life that enfolds us and helps and heals and holds us and leads beyond the goals which our forebears once sought. We sing of the freedoms which martyrs and heroes have won by their labor, their sorrow, their pain, the oppressed befriending, our ampler hopes defending. Their death becomes a triumph, they died not in vain. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers, our own lives expending, our gratitude commanding. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times, and names, and and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand. Good morning. We have another Native American tale this week. This one tells us why the bear sleeps all winter. It is a Nez Perce Native American legend and adapted by Dr. Mike Lockett. Now, Fuzzy Rabbit was a friendly little animal with a big heart. She was always helping other animals. When Little Frog had nowhere to play, Fuzzy Rabbit dug a hole in the ground and filled it with water. She helped Little Frog turn that hole into a really nice mud puddle to play in. Fuzzy Rabbit saw Squirrel making a nest. Well, she gathered armloads of leaves and put in the nest to help Squirrel stay warm and comfortable. Fuzzy Rabbit watched Brother Mole moving rocks so he could dig a hole to live in. She helped him move the rocks. All of the animals said thank you, and they all offered to help Fuzzy Rabbit if she ever needed help. Well, then Fuzzy Rabbit helped Big Brown Bear. Bear had spent the summer eating berries that grew on bushes. Bear had eaten honey from beehives, but now Bear was hungry again. Fuzzy Rabbit gave Big Brown Bear acorns she had collected for her own dinner. She gave Big Brown Bear carrots and cabbage she had collected from local farms. But Big Brown Bear did not say thank you. Big Brown Bear just said more. Big Brown Bear followed Fuzzy Rabbit everywhere. Every time Fuzzy Rabbit stored up food for winter, Big Brown Bear said, more. Then Big Brown Bear ate all the food. Big Brown Bear had become a big problem. When Fuzzy Rabbit filled a hollow log with food for winter, Big Brown Bear said, more. He climbed in to eat the food and take a nap. Fuzzy Rabbit went to Little Frog, Squirrel, and Brother Mole for help. What can I do? Asked Fuzzy Rabbit. I'm small and, well, Big Brown Bear is big. He keeps eating the food I need to live through winter. Right now he's living in my house in the hollow log. Little Frog, Squirrel, and Brother Mole decided to help Fuzzy Rabbit. Squirrel filled up both ends of the hollow log with leaves. Little Frog packed the mud against the leaves at the ends of the logs, and Brother Mole used mud to pack rocks into the ends of the log. Now, Fuzzy Rabbit, they said, use your feet to pack the rocks tightly into the mud. And that is what Fuzzy Rabbit did. Big Brown Bear slept while they worked. When Big Brown Bear woke up, it was dark inside the log. It must be night, he thought. Then he went back to sleep. He slept, and he slept, and he slept. Fuzzy Rabbit found a new home and filled it with food. Winter came. Fuzzy Rabbit was able to stay warm and had enough to eat thanks to his friends. Big Brown Bear finally woke up when he heard birds chirping outside the log. He pushed the leaves and dried mud and rocks out of the log and went outside. It was spring. I slept all winter, he said. I think I will do that every winter from now on. Now that was long ago. Fuzzy Rabbit still tries to be kind to all of the other animals, including Big Brown Bear. But Fuzzy Rabbit always knows that she will have enough food for the winter because she does not have to share with Big Brown Bear. Bear always sleeps all winter long. And do you children want to go upstairs and do some stuff? Sure? All right, we'll sing out the children.
Okay.
We'll meet over here and we'll go upstairs.
As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return.
This is a very special time in our congregation where each of us has an opportunity to share major events in our lives, our joys, our concerns, and our sorrows, so we all can be uplifted by our UU community. As I read these that have been given us, the minister will light a candle. From Victoria, a joy. Thankful for the temporary truce in Gaza where people are being released to go home. May the guns and bombs be silent. A joy from Bob and Roby. Our son Tom was here for a week at Thanksgiving and built another bookcase. And that was a great visit. A joy from Cindy. My dog Bandit is feeling like a much healthier 11-year-old thanks to diet and medications. A joy from Annalise and Arthur Kuhl. This morning, we watched the concert by the gospel choir of Frankenfeld, Switzerland, the town we... Frauenfeld, I think. The town we grew up in. Pure joy. A joy from Karen Schaefer. Grandparents' Day in DC at our grandson's school led to some fun projects at our son's house. Then a visit with my brother Gardner in Pittsburgh and his family, doing more projects with make them happy. My husband, builder Bob, was a catalyst. The rest of us are willing helpers. A joy from Bill Cohn. I spent the last week with Sue Wild and her family in Boise and had a mighty fine time. Sue says hi to all. A joy from Victoria. My cataract surgeries went well and my vision is greatly improved. Honey's cyst under her left eyelid has healed well also. Any online?
Yeah, we have a note here from Courtney Higley. She says that Harmony was sick all through Thanksgiving, but is feeling much better now and full of the normal high energy once again. So good for Harmony.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We light one more candle for all the sorrows, concerns, and joys we hold in our hearts and are not ready to share at this time. Know we lift up our love for you and we are all in this together.
Our reading this morning is from the book Hygge, Discovering the Danish Art of Happiness by Olivia Telford. Hygge is a Danish and Scandinavian concept that describes a personal feeling rather than an abstract concept. In other words, the experience of hygge is felt within an individual's body, and it is not something understood by the mind. The boiled down meaning is coziness, but the high-level meaning is an approach to living. Hygge embraces the idea of positivity and enjoyment that comes from everyday experiences. Cultivating this kind of mindset requires an individual to pay better attention to their mind and surroundings. The idea permeates the core concepts and overall attitudes about life and how people in Denmark and the wider Nordic region live. Hygge is not merely a noun, but it is also a verb and an adjective. It is a diversified term used to describe a scenario, emotion, and way of life that centers itself on the idea of being cozy. While this is quite a broad definition, it allows the person who implements it the freedom to decide what it means for them, which is cozy in and of itself. The additional benefit is that the concept is fluid and moldable to anyone's circumstances and preferences because an individual experiences hygge uniquely. In other words, no matter who you are, you can implement and benefit from hygge. An offering to support the mission of this church will now be given and gratefully received. The winter solstice is still a few weeks away, but wintry weather is already here, and our thoughts turn to keeping warm and cozy through the short, cold days ahead. This is also a time to celebrate holidays with family and friends, enjoying the company of those we care about, and reminding ourselves of the importance of the relationships that we share. In fact, there are over 20 holidays celebrated by people around the world between the beginning of November and the end of December. From ancient holidays like the winter solstice to more recent additions like Thanksgiving and Kwanzaa. In the northern hemisphere, the nights are growing longer, and the cold can sometimes be brutal. And we seem to recognize our need for conviviality more at this time than perhaps at any other time of the year. In Scandinavian countries, where people live at even higher latitudes, 20 or more degrees further north than us, the winter nights are especially long. And their ancient cultures have developed ways to foster coziness and conviviality to make it through this time of year when seasonal depression can be a real problem. As you heard in the reading, the people of Denmark have cultivated a mindset they call hygge that is centered on the idea of positivity and enjoyment that comes from everyday experiences. And though it is common to associate hygge with the cold months for good reasons, hygge lifestyle is something they practice year-round. And there are parallels in other Scandinavian countries. Despite the photo I selected for the cover of your order of service, hygge is more than just sitting in front of a fireplace, wearing thick wool socks, and enjoying a hot cup of tea. Because of this emphasis on positivity and enjoyment as a daily practice, the people of Denmark and other Scandinavian countries consistently rank at the top of the lists of the happiest people on earth. One could argue, though, that such happiness is bolstered by the benefits and sense of security that comes with living in a social democratic society, where access to health care, free higher education, and a greater social safety net is guaranteed. And even if happiness is not the ultimate goal to which one might aspire, but secondary, for example, to finding meaning, the benefits of a Hygge mindset are undeniable in nurturing one's mental, physical, and even spiritual well-being. It is understandable why Hygge has become popular in other parts of Europe and America in recent years, and I suggest it is worthy of consideration as an alternative life way, even an antidote to the frenetic, materialistic, and stressful society that surrounds us. The Danish word hygge and its adjective form hyggelig have no direct translation into English. There is a heavy, cultural, intuitive understanding of hygge that is not easy to explain. But from everything I've read about it, I think of it as a combination of coziness and contentment wrapped in a Zen-like mindfulness and self-awareness. It is more of a feeling than a concept, and it is deeply connected to personal experience. What feels hyggelig to me may not resonate as such with you at all. It enjoys an almost mystical quality that defies simple explanation. Hygge has even been described as nothing less than the spiritual foundation of Denmark. One author offers a description of Hygge as the captured enjoyment of the simple things in life, while another defines Hygge as a total absence of things that might annoy you, stress you out, or cause you to become emotionally overwhelmed. As you often hear in the way people try to talk about a spiritual moment they have experienced, it is often easier to describe it in terms of what it is not than the essence of what it is. Hyggelig moments are personal experiences. Material objects like candles and a cozy blanket may help create a hygge-inducing atmosphere and trigger such moments. But hygge is not something that can simply be purchased. When it comes to material possessions, especially in our homes, the hygge perspective generally promotes reducing clutter and surrounding ourselves instead with fewer special things that are more meaningful and bring you joy. There is a danger that the concept of hygge may become overly commercialized in our capitalist, materialistic culture, with things like candles, clothes, and blankets already being branded and marketed as hygge, suggesting that tranquility is only a mouse click away on Amazon. There is even a company called Hygge in a Box that describes their product as, quote, a seasonal subscription box curated by hygge enthusiasts to inspire moments of hygge in our lives. Once a season, you'll receive a collection of premium products to bring warmth, light, nourishment, comfort, connection, joy, and ultimately, hyggelig moments. With no disrespect to the quality or selection of their curated items, which I'm sure are very nice, it is counter to the philosophy of hygge that you can simply purchase enough stuff and your life will be filled with hygge moments. There's a reason that the aesthetic you see in most Scandinavian homes is centered on simplicity, reduced clutter, and quality over quantity. It is true that buying things can be a source of joy, but excessive materialism is counterproductive. My wife and I have never been very materialistic, generally preferring to spend our money on experiences rather than things. And after we spent over 5 months hiking on the Appalachian Trail in 1992, living out of a backpack, we came off the trail very aware of how rewarding a life of simple living can be. In those days, there were a number of books written in the 70s, 80s, and 90s promoting the idea of simple living, sometimes called radical simplicity or minimalism. And I read everything I could find. Books like The Good Life by Helen and Scott Nearing, Voluntary Simplicity by Dwayne Elgin, and Living More with Less by Doris Longacre. And by the early 2000s, I participated in so-called simplicity circles at the First Unitarian Church in Providence, Rhode Island, using study materials from the Northwest Earth Institute, which incidentally is now known as ecochallenge.org. The overarching philosophy of the time was a rejection of materialism for the good of the environment and one's personal well-being. By reducing the stuff that we only think we need, getting rid of so-called objects of attachment, it not only reduces the manufacturing and disposal impact on the earth, but also frees us from the burden of having too many things, and even the need to earn the money to buy them in the first place. Less work to acquire stuff means reduced stress and anxiety, and more personal time for being with family, experiencing the things that bring us joy, and even engaging in spiritual practices and reflection to nurture our inner lives. Living simply is still valuable and worthy as a philosophy for today's world. And though it is not a requirement, I think the Hygge lifestyle fits nicely with the intentional effort of voluntary simplicity, becoming a path of moderation, or perhaps enhancement would be a better word. For example, the material things that my wife and I have splurged on over the years include enough furniture for our needs that expresses our rustic design aesthetic, some very nice cookware and kitchen appliances that are made to last a very long time, several pieces of artwork that bring us joy, and lots of books. Most of the books I read are nonfiction and recently published, and so they are hard to find in a regular library. I also typically make notes and highlights on the pages and return to them regularly, especially as I prepare for sermons. It is thus impractical for me to rely much on library books. So as a result, I have accumulated lots and lots of books and endure a perpetual shortage of shelf space. This may not align well with the idea of radical simplicity per se, but I would argue that beyond my practical reasons for owning them, the joy I feel from simply being among the many volumes in my home and office is itself a source of hygge for me that makes the material investment worthwhile. And on occasion, I do give away books to others to enjoy. They are not a one-time use of materials, and when I am gone, I hope someone else will find all of them useful and enjoyable as well. I have switched to Kindle versions of some books, but I am old-fashioned enough to enjoy the companionship of the printed word in its paper form. Moving would admittedly be easier with a mostly Kindle personal library, but it is a burden I am willing to bear. Living the Hygge lifestyle means different things to different people, but the general approach encourages mindfulness and a focus on the present moment that should sound familiar to anyone engaged with other practices such as mindfulness meditation or yoga. And like these similar practices, there are physical benefits associated with reduced stress and anxiety, including lower levels of harmful chemicals in the body, such as the stress hormone cortisol. These physical benefits can then translate into mental and emotional benefits and greater opportunities to experience the joys of life. And that is the point, after all. Cultivating hygge in your life is a form of self-care, and most of us are sorely lacking in this. Identifying experiences that are hygge to us, engaging with our family and friends, or creating a cozy nook in our homes as a place to get away from it all, what Danes called a hyggekro, are all means of living the hygge lifestyle. And sometimes the actions we take are critical. If you heard my sermon last week, you may recall that I quoted the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, who said, Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. I think the same can be true with creating a hygge-inspiring environment. Sometimes when we feel the least content and stressed, intentionally placing ourselves within an atmosphere of comfort and calmness is precisely what we need to do, even if we don't feel like it at first. An example from my personal experience has been decorating our home for the holidays these last few years since we lost our daughter Rachel. It has been tough for us without her at Thanksgiving and Christmas, but we find that putting up the Christmas tree, surrounding ourselves with decorations that fill us with happy memories, and cooking some favorite foods provides a degree of comfort and contentment that helps to ease the sorrow. For some reason, this year has been especially tough for me, so our tree has already been up for more than a week. I enjoy turning off some of the lights, lighting a candle or two, and reading on the sofa with the Christmas tree lighting up the living room. Sometimes I even turn on a YouTube video of a crackling fireplace to add ambiance since our apartment doesn't have a real one. And if I really go all out, I can turn on our essential oil diffuser with a few drops of fir tree needle oil to give the room a Christmas tree evergreen smell. Add in a cup of hot coffee or tea and all the senses are covered. The comfortable feel of the room and the sofa, the warm light of the candles and LED lights on the tree, the sound of the crackling virtual fire, the fir tree smell, and the taste of the hot beverage. It is easy for me to immerse myself in a good book when I'm surrounded by such a hygge atmosphere. Our dog Atka seems to like it too. She loves to nap with her head under the Christmas tree. At this point, I think I have described the ineffable idea of hygge as a way of life as best I can, but I want to say a little more about thinking of hygge as spirituality. Like in most Scandinavian countries, religion in Denmark is a bit of a paradox. Most people are members of the state church, which is Lutheran, but one could describe the religious culture as secularized Lutheranism. Church attendance is quite low, around 5%, and most people embrace very progressive beliefs about cosmology, evolution, and such. But when you analyze the values of their culture, there are clear roots in Lutheran Christian ethics, coupled with Enlightenment-inspired egalitarianism and political structures. You could probably argue that the hygge mindset in Denmark also reflects the same Lutheran Christian roots, influenced by a string of philosophers and an evolving natural self-awareness about the good things in life. I often speak about the inherent spiritual yearnings of human beings, no matter what religious culture they inherit. And I think the feeling of hygge is a good example of a spirituality that expresses deep feelings about the sacredness of life and the joy of being alive in a very secular understanding. I would even say that the hygge mindset is not only a practical way to better enjoy life, but is also a very humanistic spirituality that aligns well with modern social and environmental thinking, including nurturing a practical acknowledgement of the web of all existence. This is why I think we Unitarian Universalists should take a good look at what it might offer us. And as several authors have pointed out, it is easy to imagine that the world would be a much better place if more people embraced the hygge lifestyle around the world, regardless of other religious or political differences. So think about the many hygge moments this holiday season will offer. Baking cookies, spending time with loved ones, celebrating with friends over a nice dinner or drinks, listening to music that calls up happy memories, or taking a walk in the winter woods. Whatever for you evokes the feeling of hygge. Try to put yourself into situations that encourage these feelings and nurture your soul. Enjoy these moments and let them soothe the weariness that can seem overwhelming at times during the holidays. As you do, spread some of this joy to others whenever you can. The world needs a lot more hygge. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit once again and join in singing our closing hymn, number 69, Give Thanks.
Give thanks for the corn and the wheat that are reaped, for labor well done, and for barns that are heaped, for the sun and the dew and the sweet honeycomb, for the rose and the song and the harvest brought home. Give thanks for the mills and the farms of our land, for craft and the strength in the work of our hands, for the beauty our artists and poets have wrought, for the hope and affection our friendships have brought. Give thanks for the homes that with kindness are blessed, for seasons of plenty and well-deserved rest, for our country extending from sea unto sea, for the ways that have made it a land for the free.
Our closing words is the poem Neighbors, The Night the Lights Went Out by Angie Holden. She took a small canvas bag from the cupboard under the sink, filled it with an assortment of night lights, vanilla, blueberry, winter spice, added a couple of dumpy glass holders, a box of matches, a bar of chocolate. The house on the corner was in darkness. The knock on the door answered with a tentative, "Who's there?" Years later, they laughed about the tea, the water boiled in a pan on the gas ring, the shortbread eaten straight from a tin intended as a Christmas gift, the chocolate eaten square by square, the shimmering candle flames shining light into the darkest corners.
We will now extinguish the chalice with the words written in your order of service. Feel free to join me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.